from the College by the Lake, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Local, regional, national, and international guests discussing the issues and topics affecting the way you live are on Forum, the North Idaho College Public Forum, with your host and moderator, political scientist Tony Stewart.
Our guest today is River Reasoner. She is from the state of Oregon. She's a member of the Cherokee Nation, and she has taken time to be with us not only on this program today, but to be on the campus of North Idaho College to address the topic Celebration of Life. She has with her for this appearance at our institution a number of special people from Oregon and Washington and Idaho. And as we take time out from their appearance here at North Idaho College to interview her, we wish to talk about this topic and the races of the planet, and how our guests will talk to you about that each race was given a special keeper of either fire, water, air, or earth. And with that introduction, Ms. Reasoner, we are delighted to have you here, and thank you for taking time to be with us.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you invited me. It's looking forward to it. Looking forward to tonight to have all the people come and share and be with us and have a good time, and just to bring the celebration of life here. And we're doing it all over the Northwest, and it's exciting to bring it here and bring the cultures together.
And to join me in questioning you about your purpose and ideas is Steve Shink, who is our regular panelist, and he is the Dean of College Relations and Development at North Idaho College. And Steve shall commence today's questioning.
Thank you, Tony. River, I wonder if you'd take a few minutes and just tell us a little bit about your background and about your work in service to humanity.
Well, I think I'm in service with humanity is quite a clarification, and what I'm doing is just being and trying to bring the people together for the healing. I'm Cherokee and born and raised in my tradition and culture, and guided with my grandmother's hand and in the old way of teaching and learning, and learned to bring myself into balance and to look at the goodness in people. And we're trying to bring this together and to bring the healing and to bring the reconnection of all of the people as one, because in the beginning we were all one, and throughout the centuries so many things have come between that has separated so many of the races that it's time to bring it back so that we can have the healing for the earth and for our future and for the new generation of people who are coming in.
Could you tell us just a little bit in way of background about some of the Native American traditions dealing with the different races and their origins, so maybe our audience could understand a little bit about that bringing back together that you've been referencing?
In times long ago, all of our people worked together. All of the peoples were one. And things happened that separated the races. Land masses moved, wars, all of these things happened. So the Creator brought back the vision to bring the circle back together, to bring the medicine wheel back together of the black race, the white race, the yellow, and to bring them all back together in the red race also, and to bring us back together as one people so that we can heal. There's been so much war and so much anger and so much hate that it's caused a big rift. And there's people working all over this world to try to bring that back together, to bring the harmony to people. There's some great leaders who have been taken out of this world that started bringing some of the wisdom to us. And it's time for us to get up and get the ball on the road and to quit lollygagging around and to get the things back into balance. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm here for.
The concept of healing and the balance that you talk about, is that something that you learned from your grandmother or from other people in your family? Or is that something is that thought original with you?
The thought is not original with just me. It's in the hearts of every human being on this planet. We all want to have a good life. We all want to be happy. We all want to be successful. We don't look forward to fighting 24 hours a day. We want the balance. And the balance is bringing in the peace and harmony and the prayer into our lives. there's no reason why it can't be there, except some of the things, the barriers that has been put up and has stopped.
River, in the programs that you do, this is the third one, I believe, of,
Yes.
of 4 that you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many people participating in the program, and there's
Yes.
music and there's speech and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take us through one part of that program. While you're here at North Idaho College, you're going to have representatives of the white race, the black race, the yellow race, and the red race.
Yes.
Would you take us through the keeper of each race's responsibility and what that is, and how you perceive that as the Native Americans have for a long time?
The medicine wheel represents the 4 directional colors. We start with the red race, who is the keepers of the Mother Earth. The Creator brought it to the red race to be the caretakers of that, to keep it in balance, to keep the harmony, to keep the growth of the plants and the trees and our sources, and to keep the healing of the planet. To the black race, they brought the waters. He brought the waters that would be cared for. Serums were invented by black doctors, and they're the ones who are in charge. That's what Creator put them for. The yellow race is for the air, to keep the purity of sound and toning and breath, is taught through the Oriental religions and the Eastern religions, to bring that to the people and to keep that balance. The white race is the keepers of the fire, and the white race has invented the automobile, the combustional engines, all of the things that takes fire to make it work. And so we've brought these back together. They were separating and going separate ways. And so now it's time to start bringing these all back together and bring the medicine wheel back into balance, so that the healing can start, to take down all of the barriers, the ignorance, the prejudice, and all of these things that we all say we don't have, but somewhere in our hearts or in us that we have some kind of prejudice, and to take these things down so that we can heal. And that's part of the healing, to bring the medicine wheel back into balance.
When you talk about the medicine wheel and you've identified these 4, am I correct to say that in interpretation that when you talked about at one time the races and cultures were together, and then these divisions took place, by using the Creator to indicate that that's where the concept has been directed to the keeper of each of these? In other words, can the earth survive, or the human race, without fire, water, air, and the earth, and taking care of the earth? Are those 4 words important, powerful symbols to say why we need to be united?
They are very much important. They're the elements that keep us in balance. Without air, we'd all drop over dead. Without water, we'd dehydrate and blow away. Without the earth to walk on or to feed us, we'd starve. And without the fire, we wouldn't be warm, we wouldn't have the communications and the stability of movement. And so they're all very important for each other. Just like people in a family, we are all family. We're the family of human beings, not separate races. When you get right down to it, we are the family of human beings.
Steve Shink.
Let's talk a little bit more about healing, if we can. Is the healing that you speak of that healing between the races, or does it go deeper than that? Are there other things that have to be healed to bring us back into balance and harmony?
We have to start with ourselves. We have to start with some of the things that we've gone through childhood, some of our cultural hang-ups, some of the things that people have been working on for a very long time to bring the healing to themselves. Once that is done and they start moving from themselves into community. There's a lot of communities around here, right here in the Coeur d'Alene area, that are healing groups of people who are getting together to share, to listen to stories, to help each other get through things. This is where the healing starts, and it just spreads like a virus, and it just keeps going, and eventually it's all through the world. And this is what's going to bring us back together. Healing ourselves is number one priority. When we heal ourselves, we heal the mother also, because we start looking about how much trees we're going to cut down. What do we need the trees for? You need the trees to purify the air. We need to breathe that air to keep the landslides from going down the sides of hills, destroying towns and everything, changing the courses of rivers. You know, we need that kind of healing to have the understanding of what we've done and what we need to do for our next generation. This healing that we're doing, it's not basically just for us, it's for the next generations. And we have to get this started and get it more connected, more together with all of the groups that are doing this, so that it can be healed and brought together. And it's very important, very, very important.
Similarly, or at least similar to my last question, tell us a little bit more about harmony and balance. How do people achieve balance in their lives?
Balance is bringing the energy that flows through us into a space where we're comfortable, where we don't fall off into anger right that fast, where you can walk up to say, I forgive you for something. You know, there's a lot of people who have gone through a lot of abuse in their childhood, and they feel like it's all their fault. And it's not their fault. It's whoever did it to them's fault. They just happen to be the innocent victim that it was there. And so it's taking that and understanding that they're going to have to forgive and let go and realize that they weren't bad, and to realize that they're healing themselves, and to bring all of these things into perspective.
And with the healing and with the balance, is harmony automatically created, or is that something separate that we have to work at?
It all comes together. It starts to bring the peace and harmony within yourself, and it starts to project out. If you go to a program that all of these children are singing and they're doing all of this beautiful stuff, and you get that welled up feeling inside of you, and you start to get the joyness that comes with it, and all of this wonderful feelings, you're bringing the harmony and the balance back into you. And the thing of it is to hold on to that and take that out into your everyday living and everyday working space, and to bring that into.
I think you mentioned either before the show when we were talking, or since we've been talking here, that you're not the only one working in this direction.
I'm not.
Is it a coordinated effort, or are people simultaneously recognizing the need for these things?
People are simultaneously doing this all over the world. There's many groups that are working together to bring peace and harmony. The 21st of June, one of our Native leaders is bringing sacred items out to do prayer for peace and prayer, and he's asking everyone at that time to go into prayer, to bring that into perspective so that the healing can happen. And so the purpose of everyone who's doing it is to bring all of the people who are working into one area, maybe have a huge gathering of people, and to be able to bring that healing. We have people who have bought land to bring in different elders so that they may teach, so they may bring in, and we won't lose the knowledge that they have. You know, our elders are our libraries, they're our gifts, and without their knowledge, we lose an awful lot. We lose our history, we lose our culture, we lose the things that we identify ourselves with. There's so many people out here who are part Native that are in search for their heritage, and they're having a very hard time, and they're very frustrated and very discouraged, and we need to be able to help them understand, with even if it's just a little bit of information of saying that, you know, we're from the East Coast, or Cherokee people are ribbon people, you know, or the Lakota live in the Midwest.
Would you explain what ribbon people means?
Ribbon people are people who they have a dress similar to what I have. This is called a tear dress, and we decorate with ribbons, and our men wear shirts of cloth, calico, with ribbons hanging down from them. A lot of our men will wear ribbon shirts for different occasions and powwows and ceremonial things, and they're very beautiful and very colorful.
River, for our viewers who have not been present at one of the gatherings like the one that you're having here, Would you walk them through what an
Oh, I'd
evening
love
is like?
to. I'd love to. First thing is to come and leave all your troubles at home. Come to experience something new. We start out with a lot of music from different cultures. Tonight we're going to be having bagpipes. We're going to be having singers. I'm not sure. I think there's flute players maybe. Native American drumming and dancing. Jingle dancers are going to be there. We have a speaker of each culture to speak about what's on their heart and what may or may not help you carry something home with you. And it's just a time of coming together and enjoying and sharing. And then after that, we have an open session of where there's finger food and visitation and visiting and just sharing. And we have an elder who's coming in from Nisqually, Joe Kalama. He'll be there. He's going to do the speaking for the red race. We have Kevin, who's going to be coming in for the white race. We have, I'm not quite sure who the speakers are for the others, but I know they're very well versed people, and I'm really looking forward to meeting them. A lot of kids, a lot of fun.
So the evening is intertwined with music and dance and speech and sharing different components of a culture.
And I get up there and stomp my feet and cry a little bit and watch my grandkids dance and have a good time and be proud. And it's just fun. From
a perspective, many people contend, I'm sure you are, that internally in every person there is a being with a human spirit. And so you're tapping that with this process. I have one more question before I go back to Steve. I have observed some ceremonies, for example, a wedding in which it was a New Age wedding some years ago, and I, as an observer, saw that they were very, very much emphasizing the four corners of the earth, and they used the fire, water, air, and earth. When one reads about the New Age, you think that is something now, but are they going back and tapping a concept from the past? Or is there a very similarity to what the New Age is doing and what you're talking about?
The New Age basically taps a lot of Native American ways, and that is that's interesting. The wedding ceremony is done by whoever's performing it that feels right in their heart, and if they brought the four elements in, that's wonderful, because that's basically what we are.
But it's not a new concept.
No, it's not a new concept. Our people have been bringing the four directions in from the very beginning of our creating time and creation.
Steve Sheen.
I want to talk a little bit more about your concept of elders. You mentioned it just a moment ago, and we talked about it at length before the show. This is certainly no original thought with me. A lot of people in this country of the dominant white culture are concerned that we don't treat elderly people in this country very well. We kind of put them off to the side and want them not to disturb our lives. Tell me how that's different from the Cherokee Nation's view of elders.
Our Cherokee basically are the same feelings that most Native peoples have. Our elders are very special to us. They have knowledge that has been passed down from hand to hand orally, and there are libraries. They're very sacred people to us, and they need to be honored. They've worked very hard to get to the position that they are, and our young people need to know how to honor our elders, how to make sure that they're comfortable when they go somewhere, how to be able to stand by an elder and wait and to be patient, and how to have respectful thoughts and words, even though the elder may be a little bit on the grumpy side or may not be able to communicate clearly. They need to know how to do these things with our elders. Our elders, the information and knowledge that they have can save many, many lives, bring in harmony, bring in love and compassion, help you plant a garden, help you mend relationships, teach us our creation stories, teach us things that have been missed and have been suppressed for so long that our younger people are losing that. And it's so very important that we don't lose it. And so we keep our elders very close. We keep our elders in home with us. Very seldom you'll find a Native American in a nursing home because that's just not thought of. We respect them. They are human beings until the day they pass over, and then they become kindred spirits. And we honor them for that. They've worked very hard to get where they are.
And they are actively involved in the effort to teach others about harmony, about balance, and about healing?
Our elders have basically the last word. And we ask their advice and we listen. If our elders tell us that we're doing something wrong, we sit there and we listen to find out how it needs to be done better. And we don't assume that they're just a fussy old person sitting over there and we don't need to pay any attention to them. We know that they have a lot of knowledge for us, and we respect our elders for that and honor them.
Let me ask you another question about what you've been telling us, and the creator's story of the four races and their different roles. I get the sense from that and from other things that you've said that this is not, that what you're teaching and doing is not about trying to make everybody the same, that the differences between the races are fine. This is more a search for respect and that harmony that you talked about?
Yes, it's got to be. We have to have that harmony or the balance or the respect for each other to be able to survive. Mm-hmm. You know, this germ warfare and all the bombs and all the killings, and, you know, we have children killing children. So where did we mess up? You know, somewhere along the line something got forgotten. And we have to try to stop it. We have to bring in the goodness of the heart to bring these things back. Because we had it once. You know, why can't we have it again? Our elders tell us we can. All we need to do is unplug our ears and to open our hearts and to see what we're doing.
River, I want you to take this opportunity to talk to the youth that are watching. We've spent some time, and rightly so, with the precious wisdom of elders, but the young will someday be in charge of what happens to humanity.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the concept service to humanity, what advice would you give to young people with hopefully a bright future ahead for them, and how they could best serve, learning from the past and looking to the future?
Don't look to the past. Take those things that have happened in the past and let them go. To look forward only to the future and to the goodness. To sit down and listen to an old one. Listen to the virtues that they have. Take that and respect it in themselves. It's all of this healing and this work that's going on with the people. It's not for the people that are here now. It's not for you and it's not for I. It's for them, and to understand that we're just starting this healing, and we're going to eventually pass the ball to them. And they're the ones that's going to carry this earth. They're the ones that's going to carry the spirit and the healings. They're the ones that's going to bring the joy back to the people, to bring the smiles back. The kids get downhearted and disappointed because they think that the parents don't listen. And if the parents don't listen, forgive them. You know, do some prayers, do whatever you have to do. Go to a friend, go to someone that will listen. But try to keep the goodness in their hearts. Try to find that healing. Trying to let go of that despair that happens in society nowadays. You know, go to school, learn everything you can. Read all the books you can. Listen to everything. Turn that television off. Close up those newspapers and only read the good stuff. You know, listen.
But you
listen.
would not want them to turn the television program off for a program like this. They'll learn from this one.
Well, I hope they learn from this one, but I still believe a lot of the stuff that goes on television.
But the PBS programs, there's a lot of great things on PBS, for example.
They are,
Yes.
and I really honor PBS because they've brought some very, very important knowledge back to the people.
And bringing these cultures together in music and
Very
and
important.
talk and so
Very important. This is a learning channel, and we need those things. But what I'm referring to is turning off those cartoons and turning off those shows that are butchering people and blowing them up, and they're exciting, but remember that's a TV show.
Yes.
Don't want to bring it into reality.
Time is fairly short on this program that's left, but in visiting with different peoples in my lifetime, there's wonderful, wonderful stories. And could you give us one, particularly from the Cherokee Nation? Those are just precious stories about the past and to now.
Oh. Well, I wish you'd have told me this first. I'd have thought about it. There's many stories that it's going through my head. There was, at one time, long time ago, there was, and I'm not sure this is just a Cherokee story, but it's a very good story. There was this young man who, his mother and father worked very, very hard, and the father would go out and hunting was getting really, really bad, and the village was very hungry. And so the boy, he did his prayers, and he told his mom, he says, I'm going to go out into the woods and see what I could find. And so he went out to the woods, and he was gone for 3 or 4 hours, and he come back with all these berries. So the next day he went out again, and this time he stayed longer. He brought back a lot of berries and good things to eat, and the people ate and rejoiced and was very happy. And
30 seconds.
anyway, they asked what he was doing out there, and he said that he was going to the caves, going to the bear people. And so he says, if you'll come with me, we'll go to the woods. And so they all agreed to go. And as they were going and walking into the woods, they started to turn into the bears. And so they've lived in the woods ever since, the whole village.
That's such a nice note on which to end the program. On behalf of Steve Shink and our panel, River Reasoner, we thank you for being with us and sharing from your heart and
thank you for having
and your
me.
intellect this wonderful story about life. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to be with us again next week at this same time, and we will discuss yet another issue. Until then, please have a good week. I am Tony Stewart.
The North Idaho College Public Forum was videotaped live from the studios of Instructional Technology on the campus of North Idaho College for viewing at this more appropriate time. We invite you to join us again next week for another all-new edition of the North Idaho College Public Forum on this public television station.